I was gonna rip his heart out. I'm the best ever. I'm the most brutal and vicious and most ruthless champion there's ever been. There's no one can stop me. Lynx is a conqueror. No, I'm Alexander. He's no Alexander. I'm the best ever. There's never been anybody as ruthless.
Because if I just think, well, tomorrow I'm just gonna coast and eat Twinkies and watch TV. Oh, hello sadness, my old friend. Hello depression. Because when you're not doing anything, you feel like shit. And that's just a part of being a human being. And we can pretend that we're something other than what we really are. And we can pretend, nah, me, man, I'm just cool, just chilling, doing nothing. Bullshit. You're a fucking human. You're a human being. You evolved from the fucking hundreds of thousands of years of hunters and gatherers and people that were struggling. Those human reward systems are carved deeply into your DNA. And if you don't respect that, if you don't respect the mechanism of happiness and fulfillment and what you really need to do in order to feel satisfied in life, camaraderie, love, family, friendship, struggle, testing yourself, learning, all those things are imperative. They're all a giant part of being a person.
There's a saying, when the devil ignores you, then you know you're doing something wrong. Wait a minute, I'm not done now. You know, the devil goes, oh no, leave him alone, man, he's my favorite. Don't bother him.
Yeah.
Conversely, when the devil comes at you, maybe it's because you're trying to do something right.
Small details in the end of the day will make the big difference, in my opinion. So, as you say, and I will keep repeat, the consistency is the most difficult thing.
Just doing it every day.
Yes, every day.
Do you ever wake up and you say, I don't want to do it today?
I fight against my mind. Yes, sometimes it's happened. We are all human beings. We are not happy every day. We are, you know, not in a good mood every day. It's normal. It's part of us.
What do you do to overcome that?
I fight against that. You know, it's the big challenge. It's when you're not willing to do something, but you have to do it. This is the main point. This is why I say our mind, it's a box of surprises, and you have to challenge yourself to be consistent. I repeat, sometimes it's hard. It's what many people say, you like to go to the gym every day. Of course, no. It's not true. Nobody likes to go to the gym every day. But you have to do it. Probably yes, because your mental strength is coming from that moments, that in a hard moments, you know you should do it. So, and I do it because after that, maybe in the beginning you feel hard to start, but after when you finish the gym or cold plunge or even the training, you will feel better.
And look at you today, man.
Yeah. And I just think that's really critical, right? And it's like, because everybody has dreams, and as much as you want to be able to listen a little bit, because somebody's going to give you a gem, but nobody knows but you. You can't get advice on what you should do with your life, right? Nobody knows what you are. Like even sometimes you don't really even know what you are. You got to take your shot. And it's like, as much as you want people to agree and you want the people around you to be supporting your dreams and all, it's not going to be like that all the time. You got to do it alone. And people will help you, and when you get the ball rolling, people will jump on. But if you don't believe, nobody else is going to believe. People come along because your belief is so insane.
Trust me, you have a mindset right now, just like I have a mindset. It's how we view life. I know people with a negative mindset, which basically they view everything in a negative way. I know people with a positive mindset, which means they view everything in a positive way. People with an abundance mindset, a scarcity mindset. It's a way of thinking. The question is, how did we get there? How did we get that mindset? Through practice and habits. People that have a negative mindset have continually thought negatively. People that have a positive mindset have continually thought positively. You see, the things I do today determines the habits I have tomorrow, which determines the mindset that I have for life. So go back to what you do daily and ask yourself, what kind of a mindset am I developing today?
How do you develop consistency and more discipline in your life? And often with these kind of ideas and questions, I find the focus wrong, and I like to look at it differently from a different angle. So the human brain operates by pleasure and pain. What is pleasurable, we're attracted to, and what is painful, we naturally recoil from. And if things become too painful, we never do them. And if things become pleasurable, we get addicted to them, often with bad consequences. All right? So if the idea of discipline, of consistently doing an action, is only associated with pain, with tedium, being by yourself in a room, doing one thing over and over and over again, you're never going to get over the mountain because it's associated with too much pain, and the brain naturally shrinks from anything that's painful. Okay? So there has to be pleasure involved. Discipline has to have an element of pleasure. Consistently doing your work has to have rewards. Reward is the key word here, right? So if you never feel direct, pleasurable sensation from what discipline is giving you, then it's never going to work. Well, what are the rewards? When you were young, when you were a child, if you learned a sport, or you learned a musical instrument, or you learned chess, you knew that in the beginning, day by day, it was boring as shit. You hated it. It wasn't fun. But if you stuck with it, after 3 months, 6 months, wow, I can play this tune. Yeah, I can make a 3-point shot. Yeah, I can win a chess game here. All right? There's a reward. And then you push through and you go further and further and further and further. Okay? If you never had that experience in your childhood, then it's pretty rough. I think most of us have had that in some kind of endeavor. But if you've never experienced a reward from discipline, it's going to be very difficult for you. But you have to know that after the 3 months or the 6 months of sitting in your office and writing every single day over and over and over again, as you try to write a book or a novel or whatever, it's boring as hell. But man, I'm going to reach that moment in 3 months or 4 months. There's going to be a reward, and I'm going to feel it, and I'm going to get addicted. I'm going to get hooked to that. And you get hooked to those rewards to the point where other kinds of immediate pleasures don't have the same effect on you. And you want this again and again and again in your life. The highs that come from actually reaching your goals. So you have to think in the moment of this where you're trying to discipline yourself, of what will be the reward of the visualize it and feel it. I'm going to have this skill at the end. I'm going to have this business that I've started. I'm going to have this sense of pride. I'm going to have this sense that I got where I wanted to. And literally visualize it and imagine it and feel it in your body and know that that's where I'm going to have that reward at some point. And if it's too much drudgery and tedium, you're never going to get past that point. So that's sort of my main lesson.
It's been very fun especially talking to young men about this. It's like, well, and that's the other thing too, is I think the world is full of darkness, let's say. And we could say each of us have a little bit of light. And if we release that light, if we let it shine properly, Christ, it's too cliched to go on with in some sense, but the world is a lesser place if you do not reveal from within yourself what you have to reveal. And the fact that the world is a lesser place actually turns out not to be trivial. Like if you aren't everything you could be, more people will die, more people will suffer, more evil will be unconstrained, more tyranny will reign, more chaos will remain chaotic and dangerous, all of that.
Do you mean this by this in the sense of like the old proverb of the wings of a butterfly fluttering become a hurricane?
It's something similar to that, but it can even be more local. It's like your family is more messed up than it could be if you were less messed up than you are.
Right.
So if you just got your act together, like 10% more, your family would be 1% better.
Right.
It's like, well, do it.
And that would ripple off into the people that they interact with.
Yes, and it ripples. That's the other thing that's so cool is that, like, people think, well, there's 7 billion of us, and each of us is just this separate dust mote, like floating in the cosmos, and what the hell difference does it make what you do anyways? It's like, that is not how we're connected. It's like, you're the center of a network, and you know way more people than this, but let's say typically, you're going to know 1,000 people in your life, well enough to have an impact on them, okay? And each of those 1,000 people is going to know 1,000 people. So you're 1 step from 1 million, and 2 steps from 1 billion. And we are networked, technically. That's how human interactions work. And so when you do something that you shouldn't do, it's worse than you think. And when you do something that you should do, it's better than you think. And so you think, well, this is why I've been telling people, well, clean up your room. It's like, well, your room is actually networked too. It's not that easy to clean up your room, to set it. So you want your room to be set up so that when you walk in there, it tells you to be better than you generally are. It's organized, it's got direction, everything's in its place. You try to do that in a chaotic household. You know, I've watched people do this because I had students do these sorts of things as assignments. I'd say, look, pick a small moral goal, clean up your room, and just write down what happens as a consequence. So maybe these are students in a chaotic household. The whole place is a bloody mess. No one's taking any responsibility for anything. And so they decide they're going to start to clean up their room. And then the people in the household notice. Well, the first thing they do is get pissed off. It's like, who do you think you are? Like, you think you're better than us? Like, why do you think this is worthwhile? Who died and made you God? All of that. So just by trying to organize this little part of their life, they immediately run into the people whose actions they're casting in a dim light by trying to improve themselves to some degree. They might have to have like a thorough war in their household to be allowed to do something as simple as keep the room orderly. They'll find out very rapidly that A, that's way more difficult than it sounds, and B, that the consequences of it are far more far-reaching than people think. So that's quite fun. You know, because maybe part of it is that like everything around you is full of potential. Everything. Maybe more potential than you could ever possibly utilize. And so maybe all you have is this little rat hole of a room in some rundown place in the world. It's like, fix it up. There's more there than you think. See what happens if you fix it up. And you'll fix yourself up simultaneously because you have to get disciplined in order to fix up the room. And then you have a fixed up room and you'll be a more fixed up person. It's like, you think that nothing will happen as a consequence of that? It's like all hell will break loose as a consequence of that.